Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start this live stream. Like always, none of this is financial advice. Always do what's best for you. Just use this for your education and entertainment purposes only. So yeah, let's go into Q&A. I just had some time and I wanted to, see who we can get on, answer some questions for this week coming up, where we should see a pretty big move in the market. That's the idea, guys. That's the idea. So we want to see this big move in the market. So give me a second and we'll start in a minute. Okay, there we go. I think you could see everything a little bit better. Okay, so let's get started. First question. SYM, Symbiotic. Symbiotic, and if you haven't watched my earlier update, you want to do that because you may not understand, some of the commentary I may provide here. All right, so Symbiotic, I do think it's going to take a dip down here to 25. Now, the reason for it is a couple reasons. This looks like 5 waves down, and then this looks like 3 waves up. So it looks like it's trying to form some kind of ABC correction here. And so I do think it's got more downside. I don't like buying it here until we could take out $60. This is kind of in a no man's area. And if you look here, again, you have like a 1, 2, and then looks like a 3, a 4, and maybe a 5, or a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Let's take a look. Here, looks like that's your 5th wave. So really looks like actually it's 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2 here. So looking at it, 1, 2, and then down. Yep, that is how I would label it for now. But you have to do what's best for you. But good luck on the Symbiotic. Yeah, let's look at Tesla. We had that in my live update. Tesla's entering a buy area. We've had this for weeks, guys, weeks, right? And we knew that this was a fake out, right? Again, this is essentially what the indices could be doing, right? You get this little bit of a lower low here, but then a pump to fool everyone, like, hey, we're going to new highs, here we come, and then we get a rug pull. So we're in this rug pull phase, and so, where is it going to find support? Well, here you have 3 swings down for W, and then 3, but it looks like to me this is incomplete. You need 5 down. Here you could really see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here you got the 1, 2, and you really don't have a real wave 3 yet. You haven't taken out this divergence here and at that peak. The weekly looks okay, but the daily does not look okay. So it needs more downside. So I do think shorter term we should go lower. And again, if it decides to rally, then it's going to morph into something else, but I believe it will fail again later. So this is the count. This is what I'm looking for, something like that. Do what's best for you. Tesla's a buy as long as it's above 103. And as you could see, the weekly stochastic is pretty much almost reset the cycle. So this is an important couple weeks trading in Tesla coming up. But I believe it will find buyers. It always does. And that's just something to keep an eye on. Hey Sage, can you take a look at MSOS? Let's look at that one. I believe we've done that one before. Here, let's take a look. So we never got that fifth wave. Okay. Um, could this still be a wave 4? It's looking too deep to be a wave 4. However, it has respected the wave 2 pivot. So it could still be a wave 4 like that. So chances are it's going to swing higher, and I think it will still finish this sequence like I have here. And this looks like it's finished this 4 wave. It looks like it's finished now. And look, it hit the buy area exactly and went vertical. So that's usually your sign that you have your count is right. This is the right count. Typically when you label it and you see some behavior like this, I mean, that's pretty classic. Now, of course, it's going to be 5 up, and this could be a 3 and it's going to chop around. But I do think it's going to hit this area. Now, does that mean, oh, go short it? I wouldn't short it there, but I wouldn't be surprised that it fails here and gets wiped out. But you'll have to do what's best for you. I wouldn't recommend shorting this kind of structure that looks like this. But that's it. Now, if we do come back down and break that low, then this is a negated structure. It's in 3 waves, and it's a WXY. You put the X here, and it's going to be lights out. So I think this is an important pivot that has to hold now, right here, 729. Good luck with that one. Hang Seng, we don't know if the low's in yet. It's looking good, but it's not all clear. I do think it will go higher, and that could support the entire stock market and signal weak dollar. But what could it also be? It could be another one too, guys, right? So you got to always respect some of these counts. Let me take a look here what we have. Go back to my count. So we have 3 down here, 1, 2, and 3. Yeah, this is a very corrective structure here. It's not, it seems like, oh, this is an impulse. It's really not an impulse. I mean, it doesn't appear to be an impulse. I mean, this appears to be some type of WXY, corrective move down. Here, WX. This is very corrective in nature. And this came up in 5. So, I think that to label it this way isn't really the right way to look at it. Again, you won't get confirmation maybe until we get the RSI break. Let's take a look at the long-term RSIs on the monthly and see where we are at with the Hang Seng. Yeah, we're not there yet. Okay, but it's trying to. Look at that, guys. Look at that. If we can break that this monthly cycle, yes, the correction's over. China will be a long-term buy opportunity, investment opportunity, second chance entry, whatever you want to call it. And the labeling, we'll relabel it, and it will become not that. It would be a 1, 2 here, and then this looks like 5 up. This is how I would label it. Something like that. And then maybe more like that. Yeah, maybe it's an ABC, probably be better labeled as an ABC, but whatever it is, it's done here. So 1, 2 out, and then 1, 2 out. So why would this happen? Why would China go into a melt up? The only thing I could think of is they do something to save their stock market, like stimulus that nobody's expecting. So that's probably the biggest reason. But if I look at this on the Hang Seng now, it should hit this target at 18,168. It should come up to here where I've got highlighted. Now here it could just do, it could come back down and up, but eventually I think it's going to hit this. It's going to hit here before it probably breaks that low. So you'll have to figure out what you want to do here, because this could be still 5 up, right? If it's 5 up, then it's do a pullback. Okay, something like that. If we get this, this would be worth a long opportunity. If we get something like this, long against this low here would be a good setup. High reward, low risk. We'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But this is if you're bearish the market, this is something that you will keep you up at night, because it's not China's not collapsing yet. Now we break these pivots, I think it could be an epic collapse down to 6,000. So what's that? That's even more than 50%, even from here. That's got to be a massive wipeout in equities. We would have to force the count to make it relabel everything again. But right now, the way I would trade it is on the long side. Is how I trade the Hang Seng, guys. But you guys have to do what's best for you on that. So I only do 2 symbols. If you give me a super chat, I do whatever you want. So just do your first 2, LNG, UNH. LNG, I don't like trading natural gas, man, because it's below some key pivots. It's almost like I wouldn't be surprised to see a capitulation move that takes the price negative. Remember, those prices can go negative. I wonder why that didn't show up. Prices can go negative, and oil, like we saw. This is an energy stock, not natural gas. It's probably related to energy. We haven't labeled this before. All right, well, I thought we've looked at it. So we haven't looked at LNG. I don't know what this does. I don't know if it's tied to oil or natural gas or what. Let's take a look. Yeah, natural gas. Okay, so massive cup and handle breakout. Again, just like chart 101, and now you have a wave 3, right? And the 3 is over. There's your 4. So now we got to figure out, what's going on. Now, the monthly. So if this is a wave 3, this peak should have taken this peak out. It hasn't. So it's actually a 1-2 within a third wave breakout. So it does seem like it wants to go higher on the grand super cycle still. Yeah, we'll have to look and see where. Yeah, we'll label it as it is. For now, we'll label it like this. Yeah, let's see here. Low, and that one took it out. We have to go to a higher degree. Yeah, now it makes sense, right? This makes more sense. 1-2, 1-2. Yeah, I guess this I would just kind of call it. You have to call that like a 1-2, 1-2. The RSI doesn't support this count, but I don't see any other alternative, or I would be violating some of the basic rules of Elliott wave labeling. So it looks like it was in a super pump, which is what we just got now. So my guess is we just got done this 5 here, and we're still in these 3s. So eventually I do think this RSI peak will be taken out, but it's probably done. This first impulse is done, and you safe to label it as another 3 here, and probably put the 4 down somewhere around 128. You can get the 5 within this 3, and hopefully get that massive move to blow off. But remember, we're still in a grand supercycle wave 3. So this is should continue to extend on the grand supercycle, but I do think more than likely it's the move is over. The move is over. Uh, Here, 1, 2. Yeah, let's take a look. A lower peak here. So yeah, so I wonder if it. So how deep this 4 goes, we don't know. We don't know. See, so it's either done or a connector. More than likely, it's a connector. So it's going to do something like this more than likely. But you'll have to do what's best for you. If it gives you this setup, then you can buy this this leg lower, probably around 136 at some point later this year for more upside. Okay, so that was that LNG, and then UNH is that healthcare. I heard that they haven't been doing well. They got, that's with the cyber hack, right? The cyber hack. So I've had this labeled as flat, and it seems like it's been playing out just like that. Looking for 435 in a grand super cycle degree correction. So this would be a long-term investment opportunity potential here in United Healthcare. But it does seem like dark days are still ahead for this stock in a 3 of 3 of a C wave yet to come, the capitulation wave. Now, if this is a grand supercycle correction, which I have it labeled like this, usually the 5th wave gets wiped out completely. So this could be too optimistic. So what may develop is you get a W, a lot of sideways chop for God knows years, and then a move down like that later. To me, this is kind of dead. This is a dead chart. I mean, you could trade this bounce here, but you need to. It's kind of like you don't know, right? You don't know if it's going to be a shallow drop and 3 of 3 here we come, or it's the sideways years of choppiness and then capitulation some point later, and then your money's stuck doing nothing. So I would be looking for either like get in here, look for a V bottom. You don't get that vertical wave 3 action, then I would just get the trade and get out of it, because your money could be stuck in this for a long time, because this isn't really deep enough, and this is an extended 5th wave. And extended 5th waves typically lead to either wipeouts as the 5th wave is gone, or very long duration corrections like in crypto. That's what usually happens with wave 5s in crypto that are extended. The correction takes like forever, like sometimes a full 4-year cycle, which kind of sucks, but that's just the way these extended 5ths go. There's a lot of trapped money in this. But anyway, I do think it's got to go lower. A break of this low would confirm the Graham super cycle's over in United Health Care. Anonymous, thanks again for the super chat. Yeah, let's jump into your questions. HZEN, I think that's a new one for me. I don't think I've seen that one. Horizon, also we've got a new altcoin ETF, like altcoin ETN. Should say ETN, not an ETF. All right, let's take a look at this one and see what we got going on. So like all these grayscale charts, they show like a massive dump and then a ricochet higher as people think everything's going to be converted to an ETF. So we'll just have to label it bullish from the low and to just kind of see where the count takes us. So here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for a 1, 2, and now we're in a 3 of 3, and it looks like that wave 3 is ended. So the question is, the wave 3 may have ended here and it could have done this. It's hard to see it with the candle, real tight, and it's already finished the whole cycle. But we won't know that until the RSI breaks. And we don't really have the weekly. You see how you ended on the peak, the daily, the same thing. So I wouldn't label it this way. I would label it as a 3 wave. So that means you can buy the dip. So where would you want to buy the dip at? Well, this is looking like it's got a good setup that may be emerging potentially here at 579, 484. You'll either get a wave 4 low for a fifth wave, or if you're really lucky, you get a 1-2-1-2 and it goes even more vertical than this pump turned out, which is why I want to play that. So I'm going to keep an eye on that one. So thanks again for pointing that out for our community, because I think this is a good setup as long as we drop. Now, if we bounce here tomorrow or next week, then it's a connector and this is negated. This target is null void, and it could be a triangle or something else forming. So it's got to have a drop tomorrow. It's got to drop and capitulate tomorrow. That's what you want to see into this area. Okay, LTCN. Yeah, I was just looking at that. I think I relabeled Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Cash. So this one is going to probably be the same situation, because the nature of the wave shifted to 3 waves. Here you're down in 5. You see how we're down in 5? So this is a flat. So we actually ended in 3. So just like we saw Bitcoin Cash, it's really a WXY corrective move off this low, just on a high, much larger degree. And here you could see the 3, and then let's take a look here one more time. Yeah, 3 connector 3. So there's another W, X, and then 3, and you finish up. So just like the other ones, let's see here what we've got going on. And there's your 3 there. So you have 3 and 3. So this move is finished. So we should pull back in X. But this X should be at the full degree. So this would be highly unlikely. So more than likely, it's gonna chop people to death here. It's gonna be a choppy X wave. X waves can become triangles. They could become 3-wave flats, which is what the market loves to do, right? Where it goes something like A, B, C, right? So it could do all that, all those things. So I don't know. But I do think more than likely that W is over. Let's take another look a little bit closer here and see what we got going on. So WX, so there's the first cycle, there's the X. Yeah, looking at the RSI, we take that back, because if this finished W, we would have took it out that peak, and we didn't do that. So we're actually still in the Y wave. We're still in this Y wave. So we're due a pullback and then more of a melt up. So I do think I do take back what I was saying. So now we want to see A finish, and we don't have A finished yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're about to finish A, it looks like. It's going to do something like that. So I'm looking for some craziness like this, something really crazy. Now, I can force this label here and make it tight, but until we get the RSI break, which we don't have here, I wouldn't label it that way. And in fact, it could still even be in wave 3. So so something like that. That's how I label this right now. LTCN. Neo I showed briefly in my video. Now Neo, I'm looking for more confirmation of the low. Now if China is bottomed, then yeah, the low's in. Now if we look at it, there is a lot of this vertical nature off this buy area usually tends to support that this is a low, because if this breaks, it's going to be a massive pivot for this entire wave. Let me see here. Let's take a look for this wave. So we'll have a 1, 2, okay? So if that pivot breaks at 476, then we're looking at, prices drop into $1 or lower. So it's essentially a go to zero. So you're backing into the low. So I think you could kind of say Neo's bottomed, because if it doesn't bottom here, it's going to be a Fisker go to zero. And why, I have no idea. Maybe it's just people aren't buying. I don't know, but more than likely, it's finished and it's pulling back in wave 2. Just looking at it, because you can back into the low. Because if this low breaks, it's going to open up massive downside, and it's going to negate the charts, and I believe it will break the low here. This low, it will come back to let me put it this way. This low will get retested more than likely if that breaks. So it's back into the low. So you could buy it here. Maybe you can get it at 5, low 5s, but you did have this false breakout that failed, which usually is very bearish. So that's what I'm saying. We don't have a lot of good confirmation to just like, oh, I want to put on, a lot of money in it. I just don't see that yet. This looks like 5 down here, but the low is respected, and you could label that a flat by putting the 1 there or even here. So tough to say. It's tough to say, but the divergence, yeah, it's 5 down. So maybe what could happen in this is something like that. Something like that here. So as you could see, that's what we're looking for, something like that. That's probably where the most likely path, but you'll have to do what's best for you. Yeah, how's AHR doing? I haven't looked at that in a while. Is that thing still collapsing, or what's going on with that? Yikes. Yikes. Well, we predicted it, guys. We said that we were needed this Y wave. But guess what? It's if you're a bear, it may be time to start to cover, because I think you're on borrowed time now, because a Y wave just needs 3. So you have 1, 2, 3, and then you have 3 and the 3. So really this can end at any moment. Now let's look at the RSI. We need to go to the higher time frames. Okay, I want to see that weekly break that peak. So it does probably need more downside, but honestly, this could end at any moment. And if it has some earnings coming up, I'm not going to tell you to go long in the earnings and lose all your money, but this looks done. So this would need 5 waves from this low. Here's your cycle right here. Yeah, it's either finishing up a 5th wave. Yeah, it's finishing up a 5th wave of some kind. But man, what a journey this thing has gone down. Look at that. Holy shit, man. Look at that wipeout. We've owned this stock, man. We've traded this. We've called most of the major swings in this stock, right? Like this one was an epic long. We called the flat here at 40.72. We called the peak here, and we called the low. Don't get trapped in this shit right here and right here. And now I'm calling that it's almost bottomed. So what does this company do again? Is it like related to EV stuff? What is it? Semiconductor? Oh, it's like industrial. Like some kind of industrial. I don't know. I don't even know what it does. But let's take a look at bigger picture chart. Yeah, I mean, holy crap. It's been around that long. I would just ignore all that data. But anyway, that's enough on this one. But this has been pretty good so far for us. But I would think if you've been short in this, I think it's time to take your profits, man. If you're on the short side, it's time to cover, because this thing whenever it bottoms, it's going to be like one of these up 30-40% in one day sessions, and then it'll be bottomed. So that's it. That's how this one's going to go down. Good luck. All right, Donald, thanks for the 10, man. Let's jump to your questions. CVX. So I thought it looked like energy is starting to get a bid out there, right? We're starting to see commodities. So before we look at that, let's look at oil and see how our friend in oil is doing. So we had a three-wave correction. We could have called the B here, but since it broke that high, now it's heading to 83. So again, you have three, and now you have three and a connector. So you need a pullback and another high. So Chevron in the short term should go higher, but I still think it's going to get obliterated when this oil trade finally finishes this connector, when this comes. So it's really, my thinking on Chevron is it's just a trade. It's just a trade. And let's take a look at what we have here. So again, we had this 1-2. We called the short here. This was really good. 5 waves. So now we're stuck in this 2 wave. So like I said, it's going to go a little bit higher, but we should wipe out. We should get more downside in Chevron, but I think right now I would expect more upside. So where's an area where it would fail in short at 164.76 with a stop at 171 right there. We'll see what happens, but I think so. Like oil, I think it will hit that, and I think is that the downtrend line? Yeah, yeah. So it's going to back test that. So as you can see, you break it and then you back test and fail. This could be a high reward short potentially, because you'll be back testing and you have Fibonacci support on your short. You clearly have 5 waves down here, so the trend's lower. Again, you have to do what's best for you. Good luck on it, but it could be a very lucrative opportunity to catch that 3 of 3 on the downside in energy. So we'll see what happens. Now negate that view, we need to break 172. All right, let's go to Coinbase. Coinbase, I was looking at it the other day. So when you look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this 3 is over. I think it's in a buy area right now for the 4. Why do I have it labeled that way? Oh yeah, the 3 wave. So the 4. So we're in that 4 wave. Now, could the 4 wave be done? Or is it going to bounce and fail? So this 2 took it went from February all the way to June. So February, March, April, May, 4 months. It seems too short. That seems better, right? So more than likely it's going to chop around here. And I'm just speculating. Maybe it turns into a triangle. Right? Something like that to kill some time. So, but yeah, this is a pivot in a bounce area. The only thing this could support, because this would be too short to be 4, is it would be a 1-2, another 1-2, and it would be like Moon Boy. So that's why I label it, because you could have this, right? It could be that. I doubt it, but you'll have to do what's best for you. I think the 3 wave is finished. Let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, that's how I would label it. Anyway, that's Coinbase, Disney. So Disney was another one we called, right. We called the end of the correction. We're calling this short area. So I'm still the stand short at 130, 140 for the capitulation wave. But we've seen with these stocks that break this low that sometimes these things can really pump. So I still think it's more upside. So whatever is happening here, I believe is just going to be a. It's really just a buy. You really just got to. I would only trade the long side on Disney now, and looking at it, it looks like it wants to finish this first impulse off the low. It it looks like to me we're here, and we want to finish that first impulse off the low. Something like that. But could the 5 extend? It's possible. You see how it's turning down, where the downtrend. So I think you have to label it this way for now with the data. All right, let's keep going and see what we can what you guys have. Um, can I do a video about my technical analysis? Yeah, you know, everyone's been asking for that. It takes takes some time, and I got to organize the material so it makes sense, so people can learn from it. So if I eventually have the time one day, I'll do that. But if you watch enough of my videos, you'll kind of figure out how to do it on your own. Let's take a look at Melly. I would like to get in on that, but I want to see a bigger pullback. What's interesting is it hit our extreme short area and it just like collapsed. So I'm going to go with this label. This is a very bearish label here, and the reason I did that is we have 5 down and we only have 3 up. And this is where I would have expected it to fail, and it did in a vertical action. So I do think we're in the C leg. So I think, you know, my opinion is I wouldn't touch it on the long side anymore unless this high breaks at 1827. So it's in a C leg. This is a warning sign for the bulls in the market, right? Here's a stock that's actually bearish. And look, we just broke this. This is a connector for that move. So we're about to see a lot of selling here, more than likely. Now, the only thing that could save us is this 2-wave could play some trick, which the market loves to do, these flats, right? Where you go A, B, and C. So be careful of that trap. But whatever happens, this is now the 3 should occur. Think of Tesla, right? Don't get trapped in this 2. Even if they try to pump it in the next week or 2, that could just be a short opportunity against 1812 if they decide to pump that too. But I do think we'll get more downside and an impulse all the way down, which would be a great opportunity. And then maybe we tag this wave 4 low eventually later next year at some point, because this is going to take a long time to play out. So that's just the way it goes. And you know, and Shopify is also struggling too. I do think Shopify is going to hit 60, 56, but you could even make a case that Shopify is only 3 off the low and will actually break that low, this low, which would be like almost like back it into the low. Like we can't break that low. But so why is e-commerce bearish? I think the consumer is struggling out there. I think consumer discretionary is not doing well, and I believe in an inflationary environment, you know, they get hurt pretty bad because, you know, consumers can't spend and they can't raise their prices to cover their costs. And if they're losing money and they don't, you know, have a good handle on that, they get obliterated. So maybe this is telling us inflation is coming back. Maybe again, the Fed may be going to, you know, just throw in the towel and just say, yep, you know, we're going to cut, you know, we give up and whatever. And then inflation takes hold. And like I said, it's, we know what the inflation trade does. It doesn't crash everything, because we saw in 21, 22, late 21, 22, not every stock crashed, right? Some stocks were doing well in that inflation because they were able to pass on the cost. They traded like commodities, and then of course anything tied to inflation like energy goes, you know, higher. So that's just something to think about. So you're like, well, how can that happen if oil's going to crash, right? If oil's going to crash, well, that can't happen, right? So what this could morph into is this X wave extends up, and then negates our chart. So if that happens, we get this bigger X wave, and what that would mean, if going back to Chevron, is we would break that pivot that I had showed here. This pivot, we would come up and break 172, and that would open us up for more upside in some kind of either a 1-2, in some kind of flat here, and we go up to the 250s, or again, it just chops around more. But we retest the high at 191. So we don't. My forecast is still lower, like oil goes lower. But we'll have to wait and see how this plays out. But that's how I think of everything, guys. That's how I'm thinking of the Mellies and Shopify's of the world. All right, let's see what else we got here. So natural gas. I don't really like natural gas because of the price action that we've seen. I know at some point it's going to be an opportunity that's going to probably make a few people millionaires on the long side when that thing finally goes vertical, because it, just like oil, even if it goes negative, it will eventually find buyers, and then that will be it. So, but right now, natural gas is trying to finish out this 5-wave move right here. So let me make sure I reorient myself to this chart here. Let's get rid of that. I think I was trying to look at this later here. Yeah. As you can see, because we broke this low here, or did we break it yet? Did we break this low? We're about to. So I think this low will break. Now we haven't broke it yet, but I do believe it will break, and when it does, then that could create that panic that go to zero, natural gas, maybe even panic negative. And if you look, this really could be another 1-2 really extension. So this is obviously some kind of impulse coming down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're in 5. So this is a wave 5. So again, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're in some kind of 5th wave. And we need to finish, and that's not really a 3rd wave. So you got this coming, and this low broke. This. I'm labeling it as a 4, but honestly, it corrected this whole move. So I probably shouldn't even label that a 4. To be, looking back, I should probably label that a 5-wave move down. Something crazy like that. You see? That's why I don't like trading it. So really, it's in a 3 of a wave 5. This is a wave 5 of a higher degree, and then it's got to finish this impulse. And I still think it's got wave 3 of 3 to go, which should be just as horrific as this drop was. And you're running out of room. That's what I'm saying. I think there'll be a capitulation event in natural gas that's going to create a massive amount of volatility, which could end some of these funds that you guys trade as levered funds. Just keep that in mind if the price moves too quickly overnight as we hit the bottom. And that's the event you're looking for. So you got to be really careful trading oil, trading cold, any leveraged ETNs as natural gas finally, I think, capitulates at some point. So this also supports lower oil prices, by the way, too. This supports this move lower in oils. Yeah, and if this happens, then natural gas is going to get obliterated too. All right, let's take a look. I still got some time here. Phillips 4066. Do we have that anywhere? I want to say we've We've labeled that a long time ago. Yeah. So let's take a look. So this was an old chart, and the X truncated right there. So we didn't get to the full capitulation, but it did finish the pump in wave 3, obviously. So we did predict the 3 of 3. We got it, and now we're in it, right? So now it's something like this. So there's still more upside coming as the 4s and 5s play out. This could be done here. All right, something like that. That's that UNG. You know, it's the same chart as natural gas. It's just going to go lower. I mean, UNG. Um, I would just stay away from it. I wouldn't even be tempted into it. It's just once that pivot broke here, it's essentially game over, game set match. And again, you have to just label the impulse. But the unfortunate thing is this is a connector. This is a connector or the end of a cycle. So that's 1, 2. Okay? So you're gonna have to wait till this whole 5-wave sequence plays out. Something like that. And you see you don't have the 3 of 3 yet. Now this could become a 1. This could be a 1, 2. No, I wouldn't even label it that way. I would just label it like this. So anyway, I don't know where it goes, where it ends, but it ends somewhere down here more than likely. And then yes, it's going to make people a shitload of money, but buying it here is not like recommended. But you have to do what's best for you. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. So let's just keep going. AVGO Broadcom. Do we have that one here? Yeah. Okay. Wow. It looks like with this one we labeled pretty accurately, and we called the 4-wave, and it looks like that's what we're in. So we got this one pretty good here. So it's like something like 5 like that. We're down. That looks like 5 down. So this is going to bounce. This should bounce at any moment, but more than likely that bounce will fail. I'm looking for 1176 area to be tagged, and that should be a wave 4 and a wave 5. And then that will be the end of the grand super cycle. That'll be it. But again, I'll just always say that it could be a 1, 2 and extends. So if you're like, oh, I'm going to short this 5, that's not how you do this. You have to buy the wave 4. You don't short the 5 because the 5 can turn into another wave 3. Okay, that's how you do this. And let's take a look. Let's see what's the odds of that happening. Probably not. You see this wave 3 peak, it took out all of it. See how it did that? So more than likely it will be a 5. We'll get a 5, but again, you never know. Maybe it extends. Who knows? We'll wait and see how it plays out. Fang down, right? Is that Fang down? Yeah, we've looked at this one before. It's just yeah, at some point the triple bears will be good to go again. There's a possibility we get that set up later this month on a ricochet on a relief rally, but right now I would not be looking at those. Let me see where I've got that here. Thought I had it here. Yeah, I'll just type it in. Fang down. Yeah, it's somewhere in there. I don't have time to look for it. So it's been hanging out in our buy area, and then this was, I called it our super buy area, and we even went below that. Um, so we were in this fifth wave. So at some point that fifth wave ends, right? The question is it over now? There's your 1, 2. So there's 1, 2. And you haven't taken the peak out. So no, it's still got more downside. So I would just ignore this box, but it still looks like it's got to go a little bit lower. The sequence isn't finished. I want it to be because, if you're long this, you know, where was the 2? Yeah, right there. Right there was the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, if we would have took that divergence out a little bit stronger, we could make the case. If you actually look, we broke the cycle. So more than likely, it's in a 2 wave, but it's still got more downside. So um, we're in some kind of 2 here, but I still think it's got more downside because the RSI doesn't show that capitulation, which the indices really don't show either on the upside, right? Because I was looking for that, right? To call the top in the indices, the one thing I wanted to see. What I wanted to see in B is that squeeze higher, that capitulation move, which is typically how C and Y waves end. They don't end like this, typically. Now, I'm calling this like this only because that's the technical call, but as soon as that high's taken out, this is negated. So I wouldn't be surprised if this gets negated next week, guys. I'm not surprised if the Feds go dovish and the market's fooled and they're too bearish going into that meeting. I wouldn't be surprised to see people too bearish going into that meeting, and then the market rips higher to break out 522. And then the IWM makes a reversal up, and we'll see what happens. I am playing some calls on the IWM, guys, because the setup is potentially a massive reward if you get that. So I am trying to play that. It's a lotto play. It's a play, like you say. I always say when you buy calls and puts, you just got to be willing to have it go to 0. So we'll see how this goes. But the setup is if the Fed is dovish into that meeting, the Russell's going to rip. And if you have calls going into that meeting down in this area, and that happens, and you have to give yourself a couple weeks out, you're making hundreds of percentage of gains. So the gains could be really good. That's why I was playing that. Now, of course, there's the risk is it isn't, and they're bearish, and this just collapses, and you lose all your money, right? So that's why it's just like a lotto play. But when you look at things like Fang Down and some of these other stocks I'm going like China, it doesn't really seem like this is going to happen. It seems like we want to go higher and then peak out in a 5th wave and then come down. And then that would just be a 1-2 off this massive impulse. So really interesting moment for the Fed. They've got a very important meeting. Very important meeting. All right, let's go look at mRNA, a healthcare sector. How's mRNA doing? We called the bottom here, right, guys? Right? And we even called the wave 2. Now, what is this mess? So we could still be in wave 2. This is just 3 waves. So this is what I call like it's a no trade chart. This is you don't trade this because it could become a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and moon. Of course, that can happen in this inverse head and shoulders continuation out, right? That can very be the case. But the other alternative is something like this, where you get that, this will be a great opportunity to go long. Maybe around 78. So what I would be looking for is this high to break at 115. Until that happens, you're just kind of guessing where the market's going to go. But I think it's pretty clear that it wants to go higher. I like that candle on the daily though, that hammer. Let's look at the the 45. All right, see that looks like that looks like 5 waves down. It looks like 5 waves down. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like we're gonna do this, but I can be wrong. This one's a tough chart, but I'd be leaning bearish for a final low somewhere around 79, somewhere around here. Can you look at Mina, M-I-N-A, M-I-N-A, M-I-N-A. I would assume the Canadian market. Yeah, it's just not enough. See that? You'll have to tell me what exchange, because you can't really chart that. All right, I'll skip over that. Platinum. So if silver is going to continue higher, platinum should have found support as well. Let's take a look. What happened here? You have a 2. So this is 3 up. Again, it's in the middle area. It's in limbo. So this is a tough one. The market hasn't decided yet what it wants to do with platinum. Yeah, I just had these as so this is like the deflationary collapse target. This is the Fed gets hawkish, collapses the market, right? 383. Now, but right now it hasn't. The market is doesn't know, but I think a huge move is coming, and I can't sit here to tell you as long as these pivots hold, and they have been, but it's running out of room. At some point, it's got to break a pivot. It's going to either have to break that 1017 and open up the 3 of 3, or it's going to have to break 815, and it's going to collapse. So, some point this is going to play out. So I would just be on the sidelines, and it's really, again, it's what the Fed's going to do. Like, what's the dollar index going to do? But if you look at what gold and silver are doing, I would be leaning bullish. But I can be wrong. We'll see how this meeting goes in how the market reacts to the news. But if it does react in a violent way lower, I would be looking for 383 and a historic opportunity to go long that metal. Potentially as low as 322. But if this low breaks, I mean, somewhere in this area, this color, so generational buy. Go buy your platinum chains, guys. That's like go out to, this would be like go buy platinum, because you'll never see prices like that again in our lifetime. If we get this collapse like this, it's insane actually to think about it. Even made it down to 569. All right, let's see what else we have here. Yeah, I already looked at natural gas. We'll skip over that. Etsy and eBay. Let's go into Etsy and eBay. So Etsy is kind of like those e-commerce stocks that are pretty bearish right now. I don't like the charts on a lot of these e-commerce plays. Let's take a look at where Etsy was here. So I have Etsy at 47. So as you can see, you have 3 down, massive connector, 3 up, 3 down. So could 57 be the low and it truncated? It's always possible, but again, you have too much divergence. So more than likely it hasn't. And this is just your A, B, and C. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's your connector here. Actually, looking at it, let's go to the daily. Yeah, so it's 5. Yeah, so that's just your connector. So it's gonna. I think it's coming down here. It may tag this area here too. So that's Etsy, and then eBay. Well, yeah, we should add that to our chart. eBay. It's another e-commerce stock. We'll add that up here. See where eBay's eBay's at here. Let's take a look. So we're looking for this Y wave. Oh my God, is it going to really collapse like that? Probably not, because the connectors continue. So we're in a connector wave. So we're in this X wave. So this is pretty bearish. But that's what the chart was originally suggesting when this low broke here. This was a connector, but now the connector is morphing into something not as catastrophic, which is nice. But it's still gonna go back lower. We did break this high, which is good, but as you can see, there's really no margin for error here. So what I'll be looking for is something like that. And well, let's redo that. This almost looks like the Russell chart. Yeah, we'll relabel it as 5 in an ABC. That'll be the right way to label it. So we're in B. So you just need 3, 3, 3, and then 3, 1, 2, maybe a pullback and another high, and that should do it. So you know, I don't like giving telling people to short stocks, but this could be a short at 53.49. So like I said, like a pullback and one more little high. So it could be a short opportunity here in eBay, 57 to 53.49 in this area. I would stop out at 57 or 58 if I can get that and try to play that C leg, which, you know, should touch these low $20 areas when it's all said and done. Yeah, e-commerce is not looking healthy. E-commerce is not looking healthy. Now, I saw Jumia was pumping the other day. Let's take a look at what's going on with Jumia here. Jumia, yeah, finished this 5th wave. WXY. Yeah, that's why we called that. This is just a shallow connector and Y, and we actually took that out. So some kind of running flat. So it's going to do that. A and some kind of B and C wave. Something. I'll label it later. Be a little more accurate. Probably be better to put it there. But for now, I'll just leave it like that. So just again, showing signs that it needs more downside. So I don't like any of these charts in e-commerce. These e-commerce. How's Wayfair doing? Let's take a look at Wayfair. Again, see how it should have bottomed here and it didn't. It broke the low, so we should be headed lower in 2. But I bet it will respect 38, but we should be headed down. So I do like a buy on Wayfair. If Wayfair could drop to somewhere around 44.39 in this area. If we can get that. Now, if Wayfair breaks 38, it's game over, game set match. Targets will be much lower. Okay, I got some more super chats, so let's go to that. I'll go to Mark, yours. Yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of live streams lately. Been traveling a lot. But I'm back in town, so I'll be able to do some more. Let's take a look at some of your charts. 88. Okay, we have that here. Up there it is. So we were looking for that wave 3 action, and we got it. Again, we didn't get the complete buy area. It seems like these wave 3s truncate, right? Because they're so bullish, right? They're so bullish. That's what kind of happened to the indices. If we negate the C leg, it truncated in 2022 in October. It's just too bullish. So let's take a look at where we are with the divergence. So this actually is one cycle right here. So maybe a little too bullish there. We call it 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, and now we're in 4. Could that be 5 and finished? It's possible, but not likely. So yeah, so more than likely we still have more upside, but we're in some kind of 4. And I would like to see it hit this area here. I'd like to see it hit there. But you'll have to do what's best for you. This one's it's a tricky structure to label. It's paired with that too, so it took a while. So yeah, I mean, it's just gonna take some time to play out, I think. All right, next is SLX. Oh, steel ETF. I don't think we've ever looked at this one before. Yeah, let's take a look. Wow, way off its highs. So we'll label this is a bullish advance from this low. So I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is a classic 5. Uh-oh. Yeah, this cycle's about to end. Yikes. Yeah, this is like, oh shit moment. So yeah, I mean, to time this 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe one more high. But man, I mean, I think meltdown at any moment makes sense if oil's going to collapse. You know, again, that's a deflationary, and there's your sell area at 73. So there's your short area. If it can break 80, you lose, you get out. But the good thing is it will find the bottom at some point. You would hope at like 837, right? Somewhere around here, 37, 39. The horrific situation, and this is possible in this ETF, guys. I'm just looking at it, and again, I'm just telling you how it is. This could be an A, a B, and a C, and then this was an A, a B, and a C. Not likely, but possible. And then we break all these lows. What is that going to go to 57 cents? That would be like Dow 1000 shit, right? So I don't know, but that's a lot of bear porn right there. I would just say that for right now, it looks this is a classic end in diagonal fifth wave look. I mean, this is just classic. The other alternative is a bunch of 1-2s, which means it's about to go hyper bullish, which we'll know because we'll erase divergence, and we haven't done that yet. So keep an eye on the divergent on this trend line. As long as you're below that, this wave 5's the right wave. You break it, then it's got to flip to this super bullish count. BCB. Let's take a look at that. See if we've done that one before you. I don't see. Oh, we do have it. All right, we're there. What? Look at that. We're in the extreme buy area of the wave 5 of the C leg of the 2 wave. So Let's take a look at the wave count. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it doesn't look, from a swing standpoint, it doesn't look finished. But from a Fibonacci standpoint, yeah, it doesn't really get any better than that. So I don't know. You'll have to do what's best for you. It's real speculative, but man, the reward could be tremendous. Because I could, I could force it. Maybe I could do that, right? Oh, and it's there. But you know, I would prefer not to label it that way. Yeah, maybe that is the labeling. Yeah, there. And look at the hammer candle you got on the what's the daily look like? Like to get an engulfing candle on the daily or at least a weekly, but yeah, there it is. Coal, coal could be a buy. Damn. Imagine if this correction is over, we'll get to somewhere around the buck. Five was it 5 cents? Holy shit! Is there that much inflation coming? That coal's gonna be like moaning like that? That's crazy if this plays out. Let's hope we're wrong, because God help us what the world will be like. But I do think it seems likely for a bounce, at least a bounce, right? A bounce here. Now the bounce could fail, but I think it's due a bounce. I think it's due a bounce. So some this is some count, but again, it still may have more downside, a little more downside. We'll see what happens. Okay, let's go to Mitso, Snap, and Sofi. Snapchat. We haven't looked at that in a while. Let's take a look at Snapchat here. Where do I have that at? Not in AI. Ad tech, probably ad, no. Oh, there it is. All right, let's take a look. It's been a long time since we've been in that. Looking at that. So we had the 3, the 4, and the 5. So typically when you see this many overlapping waves, let's take a look here at the RSI. Oh my God, look at the RSI. Holy shit. Look at that surge. That's insane on the daily. Three connector 3. Let's see here, 3. It's a tough one to label. It, it's moving in 3 waves. It's moving in 3 waves. So it's that until further notice. So I don't like to trade it. I don't like to buy it here either, because it could easily break $7. This could be just a corrective bounce. We really needed to take out this peak with divergence, and you didn't get that. This was just a short squeeze here. And this looks like 3 down as well. So, it could still continue higher, right? This could be just a massive connector that just goes on for years, you know? So, this chart I wouldn't really want to trade this. I really wouldn't want to trade this. Now, if we break this low, then that will negate what I have here. So, this is just like I would just avoid this chart. I just don't like it. Let's look at SoFi here. So we had the short area and it melted up. So it would have stopped us shorts out, but eventually it played out. It just was a bigger squeeze than what's normally expected, but that's okay. That's the way it goes. But I wasn't shorting it. I just gave this idea. But now we're in the down move, right? And look, It's done exactly what I said it would do, and here we are. So it's ready for a massive move lower, guys. I hate to break it to you. What's the bigger picture on this look like? Let me see here where we're at. Yeah, we need to finish this impulse. And wherever this finishes, that's the bottom for SoFi. So SoFi should be entering a 3 of 3 moment to the downside of some kind. Let's take a look. I think it may have even broke this trend. Yeah, see, look at that. It's, how about the RSI? Yeah, RSI break. Yep, weekly broke. Yeah, this thing's toast. So SoFi's done. There was some short opportunities. The first one, you know, was kind of just a massive squeeze we got out of it. But then this hit here and that hit here, and dump, and that's it. Now it's capitulation time. Fear, you know, comes into the market. This could be that. So this could actually take another run up higher. So we'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's go to AI and Blink. So AI, I think I covered maybe in my video, but AI is coming into a great opportunity potentially for a long trade and a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 to get that 3 of 3. If the structure holds, if this can hold, like I have here, maybe we come back to 25. But if we do break 23, then it's game over. It's game over for AI. And then Blink is what's up with Blink these days? The EV market's just getting obliterated, right? EV stocks. And again, if you've been following me, that's not a surprise. I guess I don't have that chart. Let's take a look at how, I mean, I don't know if we've ever labeled this. Maybe for somebody like early on. No, we never labeled this one. All right, so there's your go to 0 point, right? I was showing you Fisker earlier. So it's got to hold 129. If it breaks 129, it's go to 0. And but until then, there's a chance. There's a chance. Let's see if it has any kind of Fibonacci support. That can usually generate some pretty good bounces if that's the case. So it is in an area of accumulation along against that all-time low. So there. So it's accumulation area. And this would have to be some kind of ABC. 1, 2. It just doesn't look good. It doesn't look like that sequence is finished. 1, 2. There's your 3, 4. We need a 5th wave. So we need a 5th wave, but we're running out of room. Right? You have 1, 2. You're running out of room. But this could be a 1, 2, 1, 2, and then it breaks that low. So I don't know. It's really tough. I don't think it's finished going down, and I think there is real danger that that low breaks, and then it becomes a go to 0 chart. Let's go to BAMA, BTU, and silver. Yeah, let's do that, and then I'm wrapping up the call because I've been on too long. So let me go to BTU, commodity. So we just saw one coal miner that's could be going vertical. Let's see if BTU supports that as well. It was coming out of a massive correction. I hadn't looked at it recently. Let me see if I can find it here. There it is. See, it's still there. So it hasn't. It's struggling at the trend line. It wants to come out. It looks like we broke the high. Double. Yeah. Did we? Again, TradingView doesn't have all the price data, so this B wave's negated now. So B wave's negated because that high broke, and that's the end of that move. So it's a running flat of some kind. But let me see. What a mess. Now, you see how there's no divergence between those peaks? It could be a really ugly way, like three-wave move. It could be that. Something like really ugly, you know, like that. So I would still wait for this lower low here. The target's 2091. I'm hoping my patience pays off. So there will be a buy here against 1749. Good luck with that. And silver. So I'm labeling silver bullish, but I believe next week we'll define, just like platinum, we have a lot of 1-2s here, right? We have a massive, big picture, silver guys, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So you get the idea. All these 1-2s, 1, 2, here 1, 2, off the COVID low, 1, 2, then 1, 2, and then here 1, 2. Oh, now we finally are impulsing, right? But this will probably become another 1, 2 later. So I do think silver is in this structure, but the divergence can easily be erased, and the lowered in the 45-minute and extend this 3. But I think it's something like this for now. And then it just pull back in another 1, 2. Like, we'll just have to label it, but I think it's just bullish. It's more bullish than platinum. But ultimately, this low has to hold at 20, or really here, this 20, 50, this area has to hold. Or unravel pretty quick. This will all unravel. And then this will come back down to this area here, 17, 16. We'll have to wait and see, but I think it's looking pretty good. And again, it's all about the dollar index, right? And then the dollar index really is all about the Fed and how the market perceives the Fed, not maybe even what they do. So the dollar index, if it collapses and the Fed is more dovish than the market expects, boom, silver moons. My guess, and gold too. If that doesn't happen and they're hawkish, the dollar pumps and you get everything collapses. So I don't know. You just got to place your bets and see where it goes. I wish I could tell the future, but I can't. But this is a 3-wave and a 3-wave, so it's in no man's land. Hasn't decided yet. All right, I'll just scan through final comments. I can't really give any more charts because I got to get off here. SPY, watch my video on YouTube for the market update. I gave you guys what to expect. I think it's all about the Fed next week and how the market reacts to that news, which I know isn't helpful, but I think the preponderance of the chart evidence shows everything is leaning bullish, not bearish at the moment, although there are a couple bear warning flags out there. They're very few, but there are a lot more bull ideas that support more upside in the market. So just, my bet would be people are going to go into that event too bearish, too negative, too defeated, and perhaps they're not as hawkish. Because do they really want to collapse the stock market right before an election by being super hawkish? I mean, there will be political pressure put on them to lower rates. I mean, you already heard what Biden was, saying, about promising lower rates. So I mean, I don't think they can be that hawkish. Even if they talk the tough talk, rates more than likely will be coming down this year. If they don't do that, they will get a collapse like they did in 2008. They will, and And someone reminded me that was an election year, right? '08, right? It's every 4 years. So maybe they don't care about elections after all, in the end, right? So who knows? But I think they do. I think it's more, the Fed's much more politicized than they ever were back in 2008. I mean, 2008 they were the focus, but now, I mean, I can't change the channel without a Fed speaker speaking like he's like some kind of famous actor or actress. I mean, they're glorified and worshipped in a way that we've never seen before. These Fed officials, and every word, everyone's like, you know, oh, what did he say? What did she say? And we've never seen that. Was not happening in '08 and '09. I mean, Bernanke, yeah, he was out there, but we weren't like worrying about what did the Fed speakers say today, and oh my God, the Fed just said this, and it wasn't like that. But it is today, so they may be more pressure on them not to be more dovish. So I'm leaning dovish, and my bet would be if they come out dovish, or God forbid, actually lower rates a quarter point, the Russell's going to really pump. So that's my play going into the Fed meeting, and we'll see if it works out or not. And I can be wrong, and I've been wrong a lot of times. So it's a lotto type play with potentially high reward. So we'll see what happens with the Russell in the next week or two. Alrighty, and scanning through. Present an NVIDIA conference next week. Yeah, sound. I gave an update in my video on SoundHound, and I believe it still will be supported. And I do believe NVIDIA will continue higher. It will break its all-time high. However, there is a chance you can get a pullback in NVIDIA to like 750 or the high 700s, which would be a great buying opportunity if that happens. But right now, I wouldn't count on it. Why does the bond market correlate to the stock market? Well, a lot of the correlations aren't perfect. They're just and then sometimes they come and go. The market, sometimes two instruments will trade together or opposite each other for months or even years, and then just the correlation just vanishes and then a new one emerges. But it seems like the market, as bonds sell off, the rates increase. Higher rates mean lower bond prices, which means the cost to service debt on companies' balance sheets increases. Their future earnings aren't as great because they have to discount that at a higher rate. Like bonds are risk-free rate, usually government, treasuries. So their future earnings are lower. So their cash that they're earning in the future is less, which is stocks are valued, based on its, future earnings growth, and that would be impacted by higher rates. And also, if they have no cash, well, guess what? They go bankrupt because they can't get financing. They can't finance their debt or roll it over if it matures, and so cash flow negative companies go bankrupt a lot faster as well. And as you know, higher rates hurts the consumer, so consumer spending goes down, and all sorts of bad shit happen typically. And that's what usually happens with higher rates, and that's why stocks tend to go down. But not all stocks, as we've talked about, and that's the correlation that we usually see in the market. Now, that's what we're seeing now in bonds. But there has been times in the past where that hasn't happened, where rates have increased and stocks have mooned. And I think that was it the 19 where did we? I'm trying to remember what period of time that was. If we go back, I want to say there was a period in the 90s where rates were actually increasing, if I remember right, for a little bit, but the market was going higher. I think we have to go back a ways here. But there was a time, if I can find it here, where are we? This period here, this one here, 93. So 93, we're at 5, and we went to 8% in 94. So, this period in 86 to 87, you see the markets were going up as these were rising, but the overall trend was lower, and I think that's why the market rose. But now if you look, the overall trend's higher, so now the correlation's different, right? And then here in the 1950s and 60s, this was one of the best periods in the stock market, and you could see it was supported. Bonds rates went up, the market melted up. So the correlation didn't exist. Some people are like, well, that's what's going to happen here, but I doubt it. Not with so much debt we have. So, I didn't trade back in the market here. I don't know why the correlation wasn't there, why rates were allowed to go from like 2% to 7%, 8%, and the market pumped, right? Pumped. I don't know. I wasn't alive then, but I guess companies were such cash rich it didn't matter. But now they're not. They have so much debt. They can't absorb that. But that's the reason. All right, guys. That's all I got today. Talk to you guys later. Good luck trading. I think the Fed is a big trading event. I think we really don't do anything until the Fed meeting. I think we could sell, chop around to lower. If we do go into the Fed meeting with a big sell-off, then we're just setting ourselves up for a rip higher. I mean, it's just like you don't want to go into that meeting too negative. I mean, the triple Qs could also be a buy here, at 430, 427. So if we sell off into the Fed meeting and we're down here, the market's setting itself up for a rip higher. It's just what's happening. It's just your people are too negative going into the news event.